your door. Couldn't bear to call.
Welcome to the Radiant Enchantress show today. Thank you for joining us. Today I'd like to welcome Kaen Gray, who is a certified hypnotist with the National Guild of Hypnotists, a registered nurse, and the owner of Green Mountain Hypnosis. Kaen enjoyed a full and satisfying career in nursing for more than a decade before opening her hypnosis practice. She studied from some of the greatest hypnotists in the country and has developed a holistic practice that reflects both her background in nursing and her training in hypnotherapy. Kaen helps everyday people make positive changes in their lives. She holds advanced certifications in hypnosis for pain management and stress management, and works with clients on a variety of issues such as anxiety, weight management, quitting smoking, overcoming emotional burdens, eliminating fears and phobias, PTSD, athletic performance, career excellence, and so much more. So let's welcome Kaen. So good morning, everybody. I'm super excited to welcome Kaen Gray to our podcast today. Kaen is also living in Vermont, and she has a hypnosis practice and likes to help people give up smoking, lose weight, amongst many other things. And I'm really interested in hearing how you came to be doing this and your journey to this point in your life, and how you could possibly help our audience. So welcome, Kaen.
Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome. So tell us your story.
I think I have a bit of a phoenix story. About 3 years ago, my marriage disintegrated due to an infidelity on my husband's part. And then I was forced to come to the realization that it had been an abusive relationship the whole time, that I had given up those bits and pieces and chunks of myself along the way until there really wasn't much of me left. So when the marriage fell apart, I was literally left with very little of myself. And I wasn't sure how to rebuild. I will admit that I did some attempts to distract myself with food and alcohol and the things that we do to get through the day and not worry about these other things. And those things left me just more broken than before, more lost than before. They are wonderful Band-Aids, so to speak, in that they give us a moment of respite from whatever it is that's happening in our lives, from those terrible events that we don't want to look at head on. But the problem is that they feed those terrible events that we're ignoring. And as a result, while we're trying to make them go away with other things, they get bigger and stronger and meaner and nastier. So I was at the lowest point of my life just 3 years ago. And by the graces of the universe and a very dear friend, I stood up and I realized that I need to keep moving forward and I need to keep going and I need to keep building on who I am. But first I need to learn who that is. So I got up and I started moving forward and I started paying attention to who I was, and I stopped drinking and I stopped all those horrible self-medication practices. And this wonderful dear friend of mine, if I can share his name, is John Birchall, and he is the founding father of Green Mountain Hypnosis, my practice. And I'll explain that more in a bit. But he used his hypnosis skills with me to help me get rid of the emotional garbage that I was carrying around. I think the term he used was that for 15 years or so, I've been lugging this couch around on my back, thinking that that was my job. And it's weighing me down, and it's breaking me, and it's hurting me. And with the help of John and hypnosis, I was able to let that go. I
Wow.
was able to get rid of the things that were eating me, that were literally destroying me. That laid the foundation of being able to move forward. I was able to look at my career in nursing and see the places that I was unsatisfied. And I'll share with you, Jane, that I love being a nurse. I love everything about it. It felt all through my practice in nursing that this is what I was meant to do. But there were some very frustrating parts of it, and those pieces that watching people self-destruct, whether it's alcoholics or diabetics or just people who can't get out from under their own emotional states, their health is compromised by these things. And that's the piece in conventional nursing that I didn't have a fix for.
Mm-hmm.
That became tremendously frustrating. So with the help of the clarity that I had gained by using hypnosis myself, I was able to reevaluate where I was in my career. And John had had this dream of opening a practice. And it just so happened that the timing was perfect. I received my own hypnosis certification with the original intent of using it in my nursing practice because this is an incredible tool.
Yep.
It saved my life. It brought me back from the lowest point in my life and allowed me to rebuild who I am. Not change necessarily, but to get rid of the stuff that I didn't need to have anymore. So it happened that I received my hypnosis certification and the settlement from my divorce in a pretty close proximity of time. And by the end of my training in hypnosis, I realized that you could just do this for a living. That I had now that piece that I was missing in nursing. And I could help so many people in the same way that I had been helped. So I took a giant step out of my nursing career and opened the practice in Lebanon. And it has been amazing.
That is so cool. And just the story of you suddenly, opening yourself up to believing in the universe, basically, right?
Yeah.
That's so cool. And that was just 3 years ago, right? No, less than 3 years ago.
That was just 3 years ago. And now I'm a successful business owner. It blows my mind. I am healthier than I have ever been. I went from that first 6 months of having maybe 6 clients a month to a full slate now.
That's
booking.
great.
I have to tell people that they have to wait a week to come see me. It's crazy. But I'm able to do so much and help so many people. And to see in them the transformations that I was able to make myself.
So your clients, do they have to be ready and open to something like this? Or even if they're skeptical, can it work?
It can work if you're skeptical. It won't work if you're not willing to participate in the process.
Right. Okay.
It's kind of that old adage that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. I can't make anybody do anything they don't want to do.
Right.
To that, my absolute favorite client is the one, often a woman, that comes and says, I don't know. I don't know what to do, and I don't know what needs fixing, but I know I can't be like this anymore.
Yep.
And the wonderful piece is, because hypnosis uses the subconscious mind, you do already know, you just don't know how to access that information.
Okay.
So all that healing and all that growth and all those wonderful things take place right at the core, right where they're made to begin with. You know, eliminating the old fearful anxiety, poor self-esteem, all those things right at the base, right at the core, where they're generated from.
Gotcha.
It's magic.
I love this. I absolutely love this. It's really sort of touches me. I may have to come and see you because
I would love to have.
I think there's some things that you could probably help with me as well. Although I have done a lot of personal development, so I've got rid of a lot of stuff, but I still feel like there's some unsupportive beliefs that it's really difficult to get rid of.
It's true. And we can't logic our way out of them. And, you know, we have these habits and these patterns of believing things for a reason. It's those, essentially, your subconscious mind, that part of you that's in charge of your feelings and your emotions, that part of you that's in charge of the things you don't have conscious control over, its job is to keep you alive.
Yeah.
So it takes that job very, very seriously. In the same way that it regulates your blood pressure to make sure that your body remains stable, it regulates your emotions and your behaviors and your reactions to create what it believes to be favorable emotional states. The trouble with it is when those patterns don't work for you anymore, when you've outgrown them or when they're no longer applicable, it's difficult to change them with good reason. Imagine if all of a sudden you forgot how to walk. That would be devastating.
Right.
So if all of a sudden you forgot how to react to a certain situation, that would be a problem. And that's where the hypnosis part comes in, is we're able to go to the subconscious mind and say, oh my gosh, thank you so much for doing such an amazing job keeping me safe and taking care of me all this time. But this old way of doing things, this doesn't work for me anymore. This is hurting me. So we need to find a new way.
Right.
And the change is instantaneous, and it is profound, and it is permanent.
Wow. Like, I'm impressed. So have you ever done any retreats? Because I think one of the first reasons you contacted me because I run women's retreats.
I haven't as of yet, but I have 2 coming up this summer that I'm very excited about. One of them is a transformational learning center in White River Junction that is holding kind of a symposium, come show off your stuff. And another one is the Circle Camp in New Hampshire that helps young women, well, find themselves.
I'll have to learn more about that.
I'm fortunate enough to have been invited to those events, and we'll be doing some group sessions for healing and growth and that negative emotional release and those wonderful things that benefit us so much.
Cool. Very cool. And those are happening this summer, they say?
Yes. The Circle Camp is in August, and the Transformational Center is in July.
Wonderful.
So it'll be a fun summer.
Yeah, you'll have to send me some information about those 2 events so I know about them. That'd be great.
I will.
So do you have a specific book that you go back to time and time and again that you could share with the audience that might be of help?
Absolutely. I often get requests from clients who want to know more about the process of hypnosis. And to them, I recommend The Art of Hypnosis. I believe it's actually titled The Art of Hypnotherapy, and it's by Roy Hunter. And Roy is, I should say Mr. Hunter, is a celebrated hypnotist. He is skilled and he has done amazing work in blending hypnosis with spirituality and focusing on helping people find their connection to their higher power, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Another book that is filled with beautiful metaphor, and I find myself coming back to and using in my sessions, excuse me, as I suffer from the dry air.
Yeah, no problem.
The other book that I come back to time and time again is called In Tune with the Infinite. And it was written in 1897 by a man named Ralph Waldo Trine, Trine.
Uh-huh.
And it was part of the, I want to say it was the New Vision movement, where people were stepping out of the organized religion at the time and looking at and defining what spirituality is and meant to them. And it is full of beautiful metaphors and these wonderful stories and these beautiful ideas about being true to yourself and the powers that we have that the universe has given us and how to use them and capitalize on them. And it's a beautiful book.
That sounds awesome. So I'll share those on our resource page because they might be helpful to our audience for sure. Let's see what else. So how can people contact you? Would you like to give out your telephone number or your email? What's the best way for them to contact?
I would, and either of those is just fine. So my phone number is 802-566-0464. And my email is Kaen Gray @greenmountainhypnosis.com.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, so we were talking before we started recording about how you like to do one-on-one, face-to-face meetings, but you can do your hypnosis online over Zoom or Skype, I think you said, maybe?
Absolutely. I think that there's a big misconception about what hypnosis is. And so it's great to understand that hypnosis is anything on a continuum between daydreaming and this wonderful place that's called the Esdale state. It's a deep and profound trance that they are actually using to perform surgeries with. It's very useful in brain surgery because it anesthetizes the body, but you're awake and alert the whole time. So hypnosis is taking you to a place of a certain level of brain waves, those theta and delta brain waves that are very similar to where you are, in fact, the same place where you are when you're in deep sleep. Only during hypnosis, we take you there while you're wide awake, and it's interactive, and you're awake and alert the whole time. So it's a place you've been in throughout the day, whether it's that moment of zoning off and staring off into space for a few minutes, or an active daydream, or even getting so wrapped up and involved in your imagination that you become emotionally invested in that imaginary place. Hypnosis is natural, and it's safe, and the more often you use it, the easier it becomes for you to not only go into hypnosis, but to go deeper into hypnosis each time. Because of the nature of what hypnosis is, we can do hypnosis over the phone. We can do hypnosis over Skype. And as I shared with you before we started, is how I would prefer to do it is to see somebody face to face the first time. When we have that first session together, there's a lot of rapport building. There's a lot of talking that we do. I share with you some more about the science behind hypnosis because, well, I honestly love the science of it and how it works. And you share with me some of the insights about the changes that you want to make and how these are affecting your life and how they're important to you. So there's this piece that needs to happen in my practice anyway, that before we go into hypnosis to do that change, we need to build up that relationship a bit. And I find that that's really best and most powerful when we're in front of each other.
Yep.
So the first session I always like to have in the office and get you in my big comfy recliner and put you into hypnosis, into a nice, deep, tranquil state, and start laying the foundations for that change work. Because from there we can go on and I'll start teaching you self-hypnosis. So now you're starting to learn how to do it for yourself. But also, if travel doesn't allow or sometimes schedules don't match up, I can do sessions over Skype.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be Skype specifically, but I chose that one because most people have it and it's pretty easy and reliable.
Yep. Yeah. No, I've done a lot of Skype myself and it does work quite well. So that was really interesting. It was really interesting to hear how you go about it and how it works. That's really interesting to me. Because this is the first time I'm talking to anybody who knows anything about hypnosis. So I'm learning a whole lot of stuff myself. So good. Is there
Wonderful.
Yeah. So do you have, besides John, are there other mentors that you have had over the years that have helped you through into the space where you're at now?
Absolutely. I have to mention my mom. At the risk of being really cliche, my mother is a nurse and has been her entire adult life. It's the only job she's ever had. And beyond that, she is the picture of strength and authenticity. My voice is going to crack.
That's okay.
She's an amazing woman. And I was a tough kid to raise. And thank goodness that the older I get, the greater my appreciation for her and her lessons and her unwavering faith in me. So she comes at the top.
That's cool. That's so amazing. Yeah.
I have to give a nod to Jason Lynette in Alexandria, Virginia, who was my trainer in hypnosis, who taught the course that I studied in, but that also has continued to be my mentor through and through. And he has this wonderful way about him. He is just a person. He's authentic. He's easy to talk to. He's not arrogant or aloof. He's not above anything. And when he teaches everything he knows. So not only how to be an amazing and epic hypnotist, but how to start a business, which was big because I've worked for somebody else my whole entire life.
Yeah.
I went into this completely blind.
It's huge. It's a huge shift from being in a job to owning your own business. I know, I've been there.
It's amazing and terrifying and wonderful and scary, and it's been great. So I'm very thankful to him. And all those giants whose shoulders that I stand on that make it possible for me to do what I do now. All the way back to Mesmer, who coined the term mesmerism, which turned into hypnotism, and all the way back to Florence Nightingale, who said, you know what, this nurse thing, this is bigger than this. All the way back to those giants.
That's so funny. So So is that where mesmerizing comes from?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, there was
that's
actually a man named Mesmer. And, you know, hypnosis stemmed out of one of those places where, like most things that we don't realize in modern life, a big part of its development came from its use in war. And not in the machinery of war, but how to treat soldiers in the battlefield without access to all these amazing drugs that take care of pain and knock people out so they can do things. How do we get them to a place where we can minimize their pain and do the things we need to do to get them patched up?
wow. That's so cool. I've learned so much from you this morning. It's been amazing. So is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience this morning?
One of the things that I say a lot, probably too much, is you are what you say you are. And it's a wonderful thing to put on a plaque or a card. It's an even more powerful thing when you're able to realize it fully. You are what you say you are. Everything you tell yourself every day is what you become. When you're in that place and you resign yourself to this life that you're living and you say, yeah, well, that's just my life. You're reinforcing that notion that this is where you are. And allow yourself the ability and allow yourself the place to step out of that, to say, my life is going to be something different. And that opens up every door in the universe.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Karen. Well, it's certainly been an inspiration talking with you this morning and learning about how you did this total 360 in your life from being a nurse to being a hypnotist. So I applaud you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you. And it's been amazing. And I'm sure our audience will just love what you've had to say today. So thank you so much again, Karen.
Aria.
You are a goddess.
We hope you enjoyed this enchanting conversation today, and we look forward to having a new conversation with you in our next show. Our shows will be broadcast approximately every 2 weeks. We wish you much love and light in your life today. Thank you.